You are listening to Mining Stock Education, where you'll learn from the top leaders in the natural resource sector and uncover quality mining investment opportunities.
And after spending more time doing more geological due diligence, I realized that, this project is more exciting than Detour Lake. Why? Because it's high grade. Also because it's untouched, undrilled. And there are so many follow-up intersections that were never follow-up. Just for example, there's an intersection that we released about 2 months ago publicly, 8 grams over 8 meters, drilled in 1961. It has never been follow-up in more than 60 years. That's why I'm excited, because I know this potential is there and it just needs to be drilled.
This is Mining Stock Education, and I'm your host, Bill Powers. Thank you for tuning again today. Well, in today's show, we're going to be profiling Gold Terra Resource Corporation, and I was personally introduced to Gold Terra by one of its larger shareholders earlier this year. This high net worth investor, who has decades of experience in the resource sector, I should note, told me that he believed Gold Terra was not being valued for the opportunity that it was presenting to the market. This particular investor told me that he believes this company has the potential of discovering 5+ million ounces of high-grade gold in an excellent jurisdiction in Canada's Northwest Territory, right outside the town of Yellowknife. The company's website is goldterracorp.com, and the ticker in Toronto is YGT. In New York, you can also find it under the ticker TRXXF. And joining me today to discuss the company is Gold Terra's executive chairman, Gerald Panneton. He has multi-decade experience in the mining sector, but not just experience, a lot of success. For over 12 years, he worked for Barrick and advanced a couple mines to production. So he understands not just geology, but what it takes from an engineering standpoint to actually bring the mine into production. He has over 30 years of experience in Canada and all over the world. He's also the founder. Most recently, he's been in the news as the founder of Detour Gold, who raised over $2.6 billion and sold that company to Kirkland Lake Gold for almost $5 billion just this year in 2020. So it's my privilege to be able to speak to you today. Gerald, welcome to Mining Stock Education for the first time. And as Gold Terra is your new company in the mining sector right now, I'm curious to learn what motivated you to join Gold Terra, and what did your due diligence process look like when you were considering taking the helm of Gold Terra?
Thank you, Bill. It's interesting because we always learn something in mining. So being part of mining education is always like something we learn every day because we discover a new thing. To answer your question, how do you get involved in a project like this, like Yellowknife? And I think the main reason is because Gold Terra, the Yellowknife project, can create value for shareholders. We're at the beginning of a story. I know the story is maybe 6-7 years old in the hands of shareholders of Terrax, but I just started last October. And before I joined, the main thing was, okay, what can Yellowknife offer to the investors? I asked the same question at Detour, and when I bought Detour in 2006 for roughly $75 million to get 100% of a great potential, I did the due diligence. And it was very quick from a geological point of view that the potential was there and was not just drilled properly. The same thing again in Gold Terra. The Yellowknife project is a project that bears the same similarity as Detour Lake, except it's high grade. And the main focus over the last 6-7 years have been almost in the wrong place. Yellowknife produced 13 million ounces of gold over 5 kilometers of strike length between the Giant and the Calm mine. South of it, north of it, we control all of the land and basically the Campbell Shear extension that has been sporadically drilled with very good intersection that we released not long time ago of 8 grams over 8 meters, for example. That has never been followed up properly. When we look at project, we get excited as geologists about sometimes the potential. And of course, when you have a low-grade deposit like a Detour, you could be excited if you get to 5 or 10 million ounces and you end up at more than 16 in reserve and you put the mine in production and it produces 500,000 ounces a year. It's a great achievement. But when you start thinking that, I look at Yellowknife in May of last year, and after my meeting, and after spending more time doing more geological due diligence, I realized that, this project is more exciting than Detour Lake. Why? Because it's high grade. Also because it's untouched, undrilled. And there are so many follow-up intersections that were never follow-up. Just for example, there's an intersection that we released about 2 months ago publicly, 8 grams over 8 meters, drilled in 1961. It has never been follow-up in more than 60 years. That's why I'm excited, because I know this potential is there and it just needs to be drilled. What we have here at Campbell is, and the Campbell Shear, the target of the Yellowknife camp, is you're looking at half an ounce per ton, 15 grams, 16 grams, 22 grams. High grade potential and a lot of potential actually untapped to the south and to the north. It's a small footprint. It's 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers. That's your Campbell Shear deposit. So yes, definitely the grade is the big bonus in repeating Detour Lake with high grade.
With some remote projects, we can understand why there's not more exploration done just because of where they're located. But this project, you can literally go to Tim Hortons in the morning, get coffee, drive out in your own car or truck and see the project. Why was this property in this district not further explored and developed in the last decade or so?
The history is a bit similar. The camp, which was run by Miramar in the late 1990 to 2005, was a Miramar, the con mine, and it was shut down when gold price hit $250 in 1999. So basically a lack of exploration, a lack of sustained development. They shut down the mine, flooded the mine. And I know a couple of anecdotes, which, I'm not here to say that people wanted the mine shut down and they were tired of going into Yellowknife. But look, we're in a city of 20,000 people. We have road access, we have power, we have people, mining people. We have support from the community, support from the government. It's sad to see a mine shut down, but at the same time, thank you, because everybody after did not focus on the right thing for about 15 years. And when Terrax purchased the property in 2013, they worked on the property for 6 years without having the focus on the Campbell Shear. So basically, they left what could be the result of a mother lode discovery in Yellowknife if we just drill the Campbell Shear south and north of the mine. And that's exactly what Terra X before us did not do it, and that we're planning to do in 2020, 2021. So within the next 2 years, we could be sitting on a 5 million ounces deposit. Success rate, one chance out of 2, 50%, because it's there.
I can recall as you're talking, Gerald, a comment I heard Rick Rule say once where he says sometimes success takes putting the right eyes on an old project. And that's kind of what you're doing here. But it's not just your eyes, because you have an excellent Rolodex with your success at Detour in previous decades. Who else have you brought into this company that's going to help you move this forward?
The team is always important. When I joined in October, I was looking at the board and I look at the directors, what they were bringing to the table. There was like too many geologists and there was too many people that has been around for a number of years. And it was time for a new reset. And basically, I brought my mining companion, mining associate of 27 years, which is Mr. Louis Dion. Louis Dion was Senior VP Operation at Barrick Gold. My 12 years at Barrick Gold are very simple. I've got 2 mines put in production, Tilawaka and Buzwagi in Tanzania, but 12 years of schooling, 12 years of looking at more than 200, 300 gold deposit. Working for the same mentor, Alex Davidson. Alex was a tough guy to work with, but a great guy to work with at the same time. We saw eye to eye. He never refuted my judgment call when I used to go on due diligence or compilation or whatever property I visited. And, when you go through all those property one after the other one, and you eliminate the political risk and the legal risk, the metallurgical risk, the mining risk. Mining is risky on so many aspects, but with the experience I gained to Barrick and then to Detour, I was able to build Detour because of my 12 years at Barrick. I don't think I would have been able to do what I did at Detour Lake without my learning curve of Barrick. Of course, project size makes a big difference. We know that if we get over 5 million ounces at Yellowknife, it's going to be tough to keep it for ourselves because we will be one of the large discoveries in Canada. And in my mind, that's the reason why this camp has a lot to offer, because it does has this potential for another 5 million ounces. No question. Maybe more. I still remember the first time I looked at Detour Lake, I thought there was 5 million ounces potential there. And we end up with 16 in reserve and another 14 in resource. So you gain access to the project to what it could deliver, and we just need to drill it. It's very simple.
And your drilling costs, I would assume, are quite lower than other areas of Canada because the town's right next door, as you already mentioned.
Yes, they are definitely. This is not a place where you spend $300-400 total cost per meters. We're averaging last winter $225. Winter is a great time to drill. We can drill all year long, not everywhere, but the ice allows you to drill everywhere for approximately the month of December all the way to the end to early April. COVID did not stop us this year. Mining is essential. Exploration is essential in Northwest Territory, and we were able to drill and finish our program up to mid-April. And the good news is that we're just about to go back and start drilling in August. Before mid-August, our drill will be turning on our high-grade Crestaurum deposit, where we intend to take our 250,000 ounces deposit at around 7 grams and bring it to possibly 750,000 ounces, 1 million ounces eventually with our drilling. The potential is there. Imagine it's a deposit that was found in 1938, and it has not been drilled below 200 meters vertical.
And I was also reviewing some of the numbers. The Con mine, if I'm correct, produced about 1 million ounces of gold at 20 grams per ton. Is that right?
The Con mine is two deposits. The Con Shear, which was 1 million ounces at 20 grams, which is actually a very similar shear zone as the Crestaurum deposit that we're going to start drilling in August. So those two are almost like twins. The Campbell Shear, which is the other part of the Con mine, mined 5 million ounces at roughly 16 grams, in width of up to 100 meters wide. So the width of the deposit was from 5 meters to 100 meters wide because of a folding situation, so the doubling of the deposit. And that's exactly what the Campbell Shear. The Con Shear is like a small subsidiary of the Campbell Shear. So they're about kilometers apart from each other. Con Shear was very rich, 3 to 5 meters in width, 1 million ounces at 20 grams, very similar to Crestaurum geology and structural setting. But the Campbell Shear goes up to 100 meters in width because it's a much bigger shear zone. And everything that was associated with quartz vein, which is very important at the Con mine, was free milling. So anything that says, oh, I don't like Yellowknife because it's refractory, that's the Giant mine, which used to be owned by Royal Oak, which became a bankruptcy and now is in the hands of the government. But the Con mine, which is currently still owned by Newmont after the acquisition of Miramar, is a great example of a mine that had a lot to yield at very good grade. And that's why it makes this camp, being in the city, having all the support from the community, from the manpower, having an access road, if we develop a project again in Yellowknife, will not be as difficult even as Detour Gold or anything else that is remote.
And the Crestaurum deposit that you're going to be drilling here shortly, your best hit so far, wasn't it 4 meters of 24 grams a ton gold already?
Yes, there are some spectacular hits on the Crestaurum deposit. One of them, yes, 4 grams over 20 meters, but we also have 7 meters at 10 grams, 16 meters at 3 grams. There's a 20 gram over 5 meters, 34 grams over 3 meters, 63 grams over 5 meters. It's a high-grade target. You hit the structure, you have quartz vein, you're going to have at least an ounce or two in that shear zone. So we know that Crestaurum is not going to be a 5 million ounces target. For me, Crestaurum is 1 million ounces or better as a target, but it's a very good target as a satellite deposit that can be drilled until we move the drill onto the Campbell Shear, which will happen later this year.
And how much of the Campbell Shear zone, percentage-wise, do you own?
I would say that with our North Belt property and our South Belt property, we probably own approximately 70% of the Campbell Shear.
And is there any other neurology plays, or you're pretty much the dominant player right here at Yellowknife?
On Yellowknife ground, we're the dominant players on the Campbell Shear.
You're going to be drilling. How many meters are we going to be looking at, and when could we expect the results?
We're going to start at 10,000 meters drilling, of which 50% is going on to Crestaurum. Following this, we'll be moving the drill onto the Campbell Shear on the South Belt and carry on with drilling all winter long. And we should expect somewhere close to 25,000 meters of drilling by April of next year.
So constant news flow, basically, for the next 9 months.
And if we're successful, we'll bring a barge into Yellowknife and drill through the summer on a barge.
You just raised $7 million. So what is our treasury at and how far will that take you?
Treasury is fully just somewhere around $7 million. 10,000 meters will cost approximately $2.5 million. So we can easily do 20,000 with $5 million. And I think our treasury will take us all the way to April of next year.
And you have all your permits in place?
Yes, we do. We have all the permit in place. We have our water permit intake, which is good for 5 years. With the relationship that was acquired through Terrax with the local permitting agency we've been doing very well. We're an environmental example of doing the right thing. We go on the ice in the winter, and even line picket are being taken off before the ice melt. So we clean our stuff. We're a 2020 junior exploration that care for the environment.
And you're based out of Toronto, is that right, Gerald?
Myself, yes. We have a small office in Vancouver. And of course, we have our people are on the ground. So our geologists looking after the project, Ryan and Aaron, are located in Yellowknife. So we have direct employment locally in Yellowknife.
And I understand, though, you can even take a direct flight right there versus some of these remote projects.
We could to Yellowknife, but I think the current, as you know, the airline industry has been cutting back significantly. The route to go usually it's through Calgary, Edmonton, or Vancouver, which has also flights into Yellowknife.
We should mention, too, you have a resource of over 700,000 ounces already defined at the project. Will you be working to further develop that resource as you're releasing these hopefully high-grade drill results?
We already did part of that resource increase last winter when we drilled the Samoto open pit target. We were very successful extending the mineralization at depth. The market should expect an updated 43101 for Samoto and for the Crestaurum deposit by year end. Definitely those two deposits should bring more ounces. So 750,000 ounces or 735,000 ounces is just the beginning. And once we start turning our rigs in Campbell should have his own 43101 next year. So we look forward to creating more value for our shareholders as the drilling continue to progress.
Gerald, I mentioned in my introduction that I was introduced to your company by one of your larger shareholders who has high expectations for your success. Can you share anything more about the share registry and what type of skin in the game have you contributed to this project?
I could start a bit with myself. Look, we all, in a sense, when you want to create value, it's for all of your shareholders. And I think the best way to show that is, as an executive chairman, I decline to have any stock option in the company and basically put dollars into the ground. And my current situation now is almost 5 million shares that were all purchased through the different financing from my private company, Gold Matter, to the financing in December to buy on the market. And again, on the last financing, to maintain my position of almost 3%, I bought another 600,000 share during the financing that we closed in July. I firmly believe that the best way to show how much I believe in the project is by being there as a shareholders and as an investor as well. And in a sense, we can talk about what's on the registry, which is public on Bloomberg. Our goal is to increase our institutional follow-up. We've been able to attract very good people, very good shareholders that are there for the long term. One of our shareholders that we have in Toronto owns approximately 6 million share now. Every time we finance, they put 2 million share. They bought 2 million share. They understand very well what we're doing. If we refer back to a press release on the Campbell Shear compilation that we did in June, they were very happy with our strategy. Our strategy is very simple, and we know that within the next 2 years, we can create this value. So just imagine our market cap today, which is not even like $40 million US. If we find 5 million ounces and the value you give us for that 5 million ounces high grade is $100 an ounce. 5 million ounces times 100 is $500 million. So it's a tenfold. This is how you create value. You create value by finding ounces that are mineable in a town that has all the full services. So this is low risk environment, high grade zone, in the perfect setup.
That's excellent. And the Northwest Territories, I believe, has permitted, what is it, about 3 mines in the last couple of years?
Mostly diamond mines in the remote location. But yes, they are all permitted from recent years. And, I went through the permitting of 3 projects in my career, Tulawaka, Buzwagi, both in Tanzania during my Barrick days. I know how to permit a project from A to Z. There are local rules, there are federal rules. You follow them, you deliver, you respect the environment, you respect your permit, and usually your track record will help you get through the next round of permitting. Detour Lake went up, with no problem on permitting. And the same thing can happen in Yellowknife, because in a remote area like Yellowknife, you close the diamond mines, which are to be closed within the next 5 to 10 years. What's next? It's probably another mine. There's nothing else than this. So mining is very important in Northern Canada. Whatever you're talking about Ontario, whatever you talk about Northwest Territory or British Columbia or Yukon, this is a supportive country that has the resource to be offered for mining and the expertise as well.
The website again is goldterracorp.com. I'm going to put a link in the show notes. On the OTC, you can find the company trading under the ticker TRXXF, and in Toronto under the ticker YGT. If you do go to the website, at the bottom right is the email sign up. I encourage you to enter your email. So as these hopefully high-grade results are presented to the market this year, you'll be the first to receive notification in email form. Gerald, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you today, and we're going to be following your story and following up, sharing your story with our listeners. But thank you for coming on today's show.
It's my pleasure, Bill. I would like to thank you very much, and we look forward in the near future to update with Gold Terra.